We're now joined by Solomon Dersso. He's a peace, security, and African Union Affairs analyst. He joins us to discuss more. Thank you, Dersso, for talking to us here on Africa Matters. Now, people are asking about the conflict in Africa. So the question would be, what role can the African Union play to resolve the conflict in Sudan and in DRC, but while at the same time respecting the sovereignty of these two countries?
So the starting point, obviously, is the mandate that the African Union has, which is entrusted to it by member states, including the countries that you made reference to. Those countries, obviously, exercising their sovereignty, have mandated the African Union to take initiatives for the prevention, management, and resolution of conflicts. So the role of the African Union is basically to exercise that mandate on the basis of, first and foremost, the mobilization of consensus from member states, which is critical from a diplomatic perspective in order to have the support from all member states for the initiatives of the African Union for conflict prevention, management, and resolution. The second thing is on the basis of that political and diplomatic solid support that it harnesses and mobilizes from member states for the African Union to articulate a strategy for the resolution of those conflicts, including, for example, through the implementation, importantly, of the decisions that have been taken with respect to the Eastern DRC within the framework of the Luanda process, which is a peace process that brings together DRC and Rwanda for purpose of resolving the interstate dimension of the conflict involving the two countries. And a lot of progress have been made, including a signing of an agreement between the two sides for the neutralization of the FDLR, for Rwanda to withdraw its what it called defense measures that it had adopted, and of course also for resolving the internal dimension of it through inclusive peace processes involving the various groups in the DRC, including the M23.
So right now, when we were hearing the African Union Security and Peace Council say that right now there'll be only two dialogue processes happening in DRC, he talked about they'll only recognize the Nairobi peace process and also the Luanda peace process. Then again, we have SADC coming in. So what happens to the SADC peace process for DRC?
So there are two processes only. The Luanda process, which deals only with the interstate dimension involving DRC and Rwanda, because there is a regional dimension to the conflict in Eastern DRC. And the most important aspect of that regional dimension is actually the one that involves Rwanda and the DRC. So the Luanda process is at that level. Then the Nairobi process is intra-Congolese dialogue and an intra-Congolese peace process that is meant to bring together the various Congolese forces that are on disagreement and therefore on a fighting terms. The SADC actually deployed peace support operation through Sami DRC. That is where the SADC comes in, the deployment of a force to Eastern DRC.
Right.
So that one is actually under the political process, which are led by Luanda and Nairobi processes. And SADC actually supports both of them, as have been reflected in the division of the joint summit of SADC and the East African Community.
When the AU, the Peace and Security Council, talks about convening a political process in Sudan that will bring the civilians, civil society, the political players to try and chart the way forward for Sudan, and at the same time was seeing also that meeting that was supposed to happen in Nairobi, a deal was supposed to be signed, that has not happened. So how will this play out?
Well, one of the challenges that we face today is that there are multiple forums for peace in Sudan, and we lead to fragmentation of the diplomatic space rather than different diplomatic actors coming together and working on the basis of shared strategy towards the resolution of the conflict in Sudan. They basically open a shop here, open a shop there, and that leads to the fragmentation of the diplomatic space and spreading everybody thin, and the resources of the diplomatic resources of all actors being divided and disperse it, leading to the fact that it doesn't really have the impact that it is expected. That is why there is a need actually for addressing the fragmentation of diplomatic initiatives with respect to Sudan, which is one of the reasons why we are not making any progress to halt the raging war in Sudan.
All right. And the new AU chief, Mahmoud Yusuf, Ali Yusuf, has spoken in the past about the AU's goal of silencing the gangs. But then again, we are still seeing that conflicts still persist on the continent. So what does he bring to the AU that would make this a reality?
So we have seen over the course of the past years that conflicts indeed have increased on the African continent. I think it's important to remember that this phenomenon of increase in the number of conflicts is not unique to Africa. It is a global phenomenon. Various conflict data sets have already established this. We are in a difficult moment. We at Amani Africa, for example, have released a report reviewing the African Union's past year performance. And what we have discovered in terms of our analysis is we are entering a new era of insecurity and instability that is characterized by interstate tension, which undermines the effectiveness of the African Union, because it's only when member states are able to work together that the AU can deliver more effectively. When there is tension between member states, the AU gets weakened and it couldn't be able to deliver on its mandate.
All right.
And therefore, the role of the new AU leadership under Mahmoud Yusuf is actually to undertake a strategic review of the state of peace and security in Africa, and a strategic review of also the peace and security performance of the African Union in order to reset and to put the African Union in a more solid ground for it to actually respond more effectively than it has done so far.